There's a blood sugar warning sign that shows up years before diabetes is ever diagnosed, and most people over 60 mistake it for something else entirely: tiredness, stress, or just getting older. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for and what to do about it. If you've been feeling more tired than usual, waking up thirsty, or noticing your vision blur for no reason, your blood sugar might be trying to tell you something. Doctors call this an early warning sign. Most people never connect the dots. Today, I'm going to help you connect them. Blood sugar problems don't usually show up overnight. They build slowly, quietly, over months or even years. And that's exactly why so many people miss the early signs. They're subtle. They're easy to explain away. And by the time most people get checked, their blood sugar has already been running high for a while. This matters even more after 60. As we get older, our bodies naturally become a little less efficient at managing blood sugar. It's not because you did something wrong. It's simply part of how metabolism shifts with age. But that shift means the warning signs can sneak up on you, and they're often mistaken for normal aging. So today, we're going to walk through the early blood sugar warning sign most people miss, why it happens, and what you can do about it starting today. This is general health education, not personal medical advice. Always check with your doctor about your own situation, especially if anything I describe sounds familiar to you. The warning sign most people miss. Let's start with the big one: unusual fatigue. Not the kind of tired you feel after a long day. This is a deeper, more persistent tiredness that doesn't go away with rest. Here's why it happens. Think of your cells like tiny cars, and sugar, or glucose, as their fuel. Insulin is the key that unlocks the door so that fuel can get inside. When your body starts struggling to use insulin properly, a condition called insulin resistance, that fuel gets stuck outside the cell. Your blood sugar rises, but your cells are still running on empty. That's why so many people feel exhausted, even when they're eating regularly and sleeping enough. Here's a relatable example. Let's say a 68-year-old man named Robert used to enjoy his morning walks. Lately, though, he's been skipping them. Not because he doesn't want to walk, but because he just doesn't have the energy. He assumed it was his age catching up with him. It wasn't until a routine checkup that his doctor mentioned his blood sugar had crept up over the past year. Robert's story is incredibly common, and it shows exactly why this warning sign gets missed so often. It hides behind something we all expect as we age: feeling a little more tired. But fatigue isn't the only clue. There's a cluster of other signs that often show up together, and I'll walk you through them now. 3 more signs to watch for. The second sign is increased thirst, paired with more frequent trips to the bathroom, especially at night. When blood sugar runs high, your kidneys work overtime trying to filter out the extra sugar. That process pulls more water from your body, which leaves you feeling thirsty, and it means more bathroom trips, even overnight. If you've noticed yourself getting up 2 or 3 times a night lately, this could be part of the picture. The third sign is blurred vision that seems to come and go. High blood sugar can cause fluid to shift in and out of the lens of your eye, changing its shape slightly. That's what creates that blurry, hard-to-focus feeling. Many people assume it's just their eyes aging, and sometimes it is. But when blurry vision comes and goes rather than steadily worsening, it's worth mentioning to your doctor. The fourth sign is slower healing. A small cut, a scrape, even a mild bruise, taking longer than usual to heal. High blood sugar can affect circulation and the way your body repairs itself. It's a subtle sign, but it's one your body is genuinely trying to show you. Now here's the thing almost nobody talks about, and I promised I'd get to it. These 4 signs rarely show up alone. They tend to build together, gradually, which is exactly why they're so easy to dismiss one at a time. Fatigue gets blamed on poor sleep. Thirst gets blamed on hot weather. Blurry vision gets blamed on needing new glasses. Slow healing gets blamed on thinner skin. Each one has an innocent explanation on its own. But together, they tell a different story. Why after 60 is different. So why does this matter more after 60 specifically? As we age, our pancreas, the organ that produces insulin, often becomes a little less responsive. At the same time, muscle mass naturally decreases, and muscle is one of the biggest users of blood sugar in the body. Less muscle means less demand for glucose, which can allow blood sugar to run higher than it used to, even with the same diet you've always had. None of this means anything is wrong with you. It simply means your body's needs have shifted, and it helps to shift your habits along with it. The encouraging part is that this is one of the most manageable areas of health, especially when it's caught early. Let's talk about what you can actually do. 5 practical daily habits. The first habit is walking after meals. Even a gentle 10 to 15-minute walk after eating helps your muscles use up some of that blood sugar directly, rather than letting it linger in your bloodstream. You don't need to power walk. A relaxed pace is enough to make a real difference. The second habit is paying attention to how meals are built. Pairing carbohydrates, like bread, rice, or potatoes, with a source of protein or fiber can help slow down how quickly sugar enters your bloodstream. For example, having an apple with a small handful of nuts tends to be gentler on your blood sugar than the apple alone. The third habit is prioritizing sleep quality. Poor sleep has been linked to higher blood sugar the very next day because it affects how your body responds to insulin. Aiming for a consistent bedtime, even on weekends, can genuinely help. The fourth habit is staying hydrated with water throughout the day, rather than waiting until you feel thirsty. Mild dehydration can actually concentrate sugar in the blood, making levels appear higher than they might otherwise be. The fifth habit, and maybe the most important one, is simply getting checked. A basic blood test can catch changes long before symptoms become obvious. If you haven't had your blood sugar checked in the past year, especially if any of today's signs sound familiar, it's worth asking your doctor about it at your next visit. Common mistakes to avoid. Now let's talk about a few common mistakes people make once they do notice something's off. The first mistake is waiting for symptoms to get worse before taking action. Early changes are often the easiest to address, so there's real value in acting on subtle signs rather than waiting for something more obvious. The second mistake is making drastic changes all at once, like cutting out entire food groups overnight. Sudden extreme changes are hard to sustain, and consistency matters far more than perfection. Small, steady habits tend to stick, and sticking with them is what actually makes a difference over time. The third mistake is assuming these signs always mean diabetes. They don't. Fatigue, thirst, and blurry vision can have many causes, some related to blood sugar and some not. That's exactly why a simple conversation with your doctor is so valuable. It takes the guesswork out of it. When to see a doctor. If you're noticing 2 or more of these signs together, especially if they've been building over the past few months, it's worth bringing up with your healthcare provider. And if you ever experience sudden vision changes, confusion, or unusual weakness, those deserve prompt medical attention rather than waiting. Again, this video is meant to help you recognize patterns worth asking about. It's not a diagnosis, and your doctor is the right person to interpret what these signs mean for you specifically. Key takeaways. Let's bring this together. Fatigue, increased thirst, blurry vision that comes and goes, and slower healing can all be early blood sugar warning signs, especially after sick. They tend to show up gradually and get mistaken for normal aging. But small daily habits like walking after meals, balancing what's on your plate, prioritizing sleep, staying hydrated, and getting regular checkups can make a genuine difference in how your body manages blood sugar over time. You know your body better than anyone. If something's felt a little different lately, trust that instinct enough to ask a simple question at your next appointment. That one conversation could make all the difference. I'd love to know, have you noticed any of these signs in your own daily life? Where are you watching from today? Let me know in the comments. I read every one.